Following, we're offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant, every single bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy. It's time for the Iran killing machine to end. So there's escalation in the Strait of Hormuz, and it's casting a lot of doubt over how this next round of talks could play out. So Iran is promising its own response after a U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyer attacked and seized one of its cargo ships. It wrote, "We warn that the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will soon respond and retaliate against this armed piracy by the U.S. military." U.S. Central Command says that the cargo ship tried to evade the U.S. blockade. The destroyer repeated warnings to the cargo ship for 6 hours before blowing a hole in the ship's engine room.
Vessel Tosca, Motor Vessel Tosca, vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Marines then boarding that ship by helicopter in what is the first interception since the U.S. began its naval blockade of the Strait last week. President Donald Trump says that U.S. negotiators, led by Vice President J.D. Vance, will travel to Pakistan today for a new round of talks. On Truth Social, he wrote the following: "We're offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant, every single bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy. It's time for the Iran killing machine to end." Now, as far as what the Iranians are saying, there's been no official response from Iran on these talks. Iranian state media, however, are issuing suggestions that Iran might not participate in these negotiations. It is worth reminding our viewers that the current temporary ceasefire is set to expire in just 2 days. Carly, Todd.
All right, Alex Hogan live for us in Washington. Alex, thank you. Let's bring in former U.S. Central Command Director Joe Pacino. Joe, thank you so much for joining us. As Alex just said, Iran is saying that they aren't even going to show up to this latest round of ceasefire talks. Do you think that is true or bluster coming from the Iranians?
Well, it's hard to tell with Iran. You know, they lie, they obfuscate, they delay, and they're looking to delay the next round of this war. They're looking to delay the continuation of these bombings. It's hard to tell where they are exactly. I think another confounding factor here is that nobody that's part of negotiations, particularly Ghalibaf, the parliament speaker, is in direct contact with the mullahs. And so when you think about the specific Iranian leadership, Mustafa Khomeini, the new Ayatollah, is 2 miles underground. He's not on any comms device. People are passing him notes. So the leadership structure is hidden away, and it's hard to get notes and messages out in terms of what to do next, what to agree to next.
Yeah, and we saw that play out during the first round, where we learned that nobody in the room could even agree to any of the negotiations. So very good point raised by you there. Talk to us about the U.S. boarding and seizing the Iranian ship that crossed the blockade line. Can we expect more of this?
If Iran continues to push back on this, then absolutely we can expect more. It demonstrates, this action from this weekend demonstrates that this blockade is not an economic show of force. It's an actual measure of economic pressure. So we're laying on multiple different kinds of pressures here. You've got the military pressure from the first phase of the campaign, where we bombed Iran very heavily, took out their drone sites, ballistic missile sites, IRGC centers. We layer on top of that this economic pressure, where we're squeezing out their ability to transport their oil. And then hopefully, at some point, that lands us in diplomatic pressure. So all the parties come back together and we work out some kind of negotiation. But that negotiation has to make clear that Iran cannot pursue a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. And the video, Joe, of this was notable, and pretty stunning to see. Was this a dangerous mission for the United States to do, to board this ship and seize it?
Sure. Well, first of all, anything you do in the Strait of Hormuz or in the Red Sea at this moment is going to be dangerous, because you don't just have the danger that's in front of you on the water. You've got dangers from the coastal batteries. You've got dangers from drones and missiles that we really haven't seen Iran activate yet, firing off the coastal batteries into the sea. And so when you think about boarding a ship, you've got, first of all, the coastal batteries, then you've got the danger right in front of you, you've got speed, you've got weapon systems on both sides of this. You've got the IRGC involved. You've got transport from sea to sea. So it's a very complex mission. Of course, we have, as President Trump has been saying and Secretary Hegseth has been saying, we have just the greatest men and women, most capable in the world, that are running these operations, and we should be thankful for that.
And the president posted on Truth Social that if Iran doesn't agree to the U.S. proposal, the U.S. is going to knock out every single power plant, every single bridge in Iran. He wrote he would blow up everything. And this is something that, when it comes to the bridges and the power plants he's threatened before, of course, been hesitant to do. What are the pros and cons of a move like this?
The pros are that you would knock out Iran's ability to fund the war machine, and you would blind Iran effectively in terms of their ability to continue to fight back or organize any kind of military response. The con then is you could turn the population there against us. And, we're in there, presumably, at least initially, to support the protest movement. And most of that country, the overwhelming majority, hates the Iranian regime, this incredibly impressive, violent regime. And so I think going in there and knocking out the infrastructure for the people that are turning against the regime and have been protesting, I think that carries a lot of risk.
And finally, can you imagine a world in which Iran actually does give up its nuclear ambitions?
No. I cannot not fully give up its nuclear ambitions. Iran's nuclear ambitions have always been tied to its idea of statehood, sovereignty, independence. They feel like, and they've always felt like, it's their last piece of critical deterrence against Israel. And so it's so closely aligned with their view of the world and their view of power that it'd be hard to see them fully give up their nuclear ambitions unless the nuclear capability is knocked out, which is something that we've warned and hedged against.
Yeah, or unless there is real and true regime change that maybe the Iranian people can eventually be a part of much down the road. Another element of this, and we do have to leave it here, is that Hezbollah just announced that it attacked Israeli forces in southern Lebanon while this 10-day ceasefire is in effect. So we're going to be watching how that one unfolds as well.